Straighten it out. There you go. Good afternoon. I am running for president. My name is Matthew Tubasing. If and when elected, I can show you my birth certificate to prove that I was born in this country and that, well, at least by the time 2024 comes along, I will be 35 years old. Actually, I passed that a long time ago. Sorry, I had to do that. What I would like to address in this, though, I've already announced that I was running for president in the first video. This is the second in a series of God knows how many. If I just do one a week, it's going to be more than 200 because we've got 4 years going on here. But today is November 6th, is that right? Yeah, the 3rd was Tuesday yes, today is November 6th. Tuesday, we voted for president. Today, we are all pretty sure that it's going to be Biden. Let me just say, nobody organization, institution-wise, who is credible when it comes to this kind of thing has called the race as of yet. But we are all pretty sure that, well, just given the numbers, Trump almost absolutely does not have a path to victory. So we are just all assuming it's Biden. So that's that. But what I want to do is do a series of videos in my presidential run up to 2024. The big thing, if I only have one campaign platform, and as of yet I only have one campaign platform, but I want a third-party debate, and that's any third party that can get enough electoral votes to become president. And as it is right now, that's 270. We always assume it's 270 because we only have the DERPs, the Democrats and the Republicans. That number continues to go down every time you add a party. So the more parties you have, the less electoral votes you need to at least throw it into the Senate for them to decide. This is all in the Constitution, so that's the way it works. As it is, if you get more than 50%, 170, you're president. If there were more parties, well, it was okay. It's 538. I rattled off the numbers on the first video, but it goes down to about 180. Would that be right? 180, 190, somewhere in there. If there's 3, if there's 4, it would be like about 132, I think. In any event, how it works in terms of that is if nobody gets 50%, as long as you have a majority, you are definitely in the running. And as the Constitution lays it out, we're so familiar with the two-party system that most of us who are unfamiliar with what's going on in the Constitution, which I think is most of us, we're familiar with some of the Bill of Rights maybe, but there's a lot more than that. Let me just say, because I've read through it a few times and I barely remember any of it. It's involved. I mean, it's only like one long page actually, but there's a lot of words in there. And let's face it, some of the language actually does throw you for a loop because this was written over 200 years ago, and For example, our own still president, Trump, who admittedly is not a good example for intellectual skills, but when they were trying to teach him the Constitution, because for God's sakes, you're going to be the president of the United States, you should know more than just how to cheat at golf. Maybe what's in the Constitution? Let's start with that. He said, well, he has a very low attention span anyways. Everybody knows that. Even the people who aren't willing to admit it. Everybody knows Trump cannot pay attention. And this is some heady stuff. I mean, you don't go into the Constitution thinking it's like reading Winnie the Pooh. It's not. So they couldn't get him to focus to begin with anyways, and his quip was, it's like reading a foreign language. Now, I believe that is more of a tell on Trump's mentality than what the language of the Constitution is actually like. But it is somewhat archaic and hard to follow at times. So I kind of understand what he means. All right, let me tell you where we're at. I had to actually stop the video, replay what I had already said because I had lost my train of thought. I am perfectly willing to admit that because, as I said already, I'm running for president of the United States, but I have ulterior motives. This is not to actually get elected president. This is, I would say, just to build a fan base, hopefully, maybe get people curious, intrigued, committed to changing the way we do things, changing the way we look at things concerning governance and politics in this country. But I was going on about the thing is, I'm perfectly willing to admit that sometimes I ramble and I will lose focus and I will forget where I started. And fortunately, I'm videoing this because I could just go back and watch where I started and see, because I started rambling on about the Constitution and how hard it is to read in places and just totally spaced it. Where did I start with all this? So I went back and I looked, and when I looked, I realized also that when I was talking about only having two parties, more or less, más o menos, running for president, you only need 270 electoral votes in order to become president. I accidentally said 170, but it's 270. It really doesn't matter how many parties are running. 270 is like 50.5, 51%, whatever. It's more than 50%. You've got the majority, you're in. The thing is, if nobody gets that over 50%, if there are 3 viable parties, or 4, or 5, or 10, then it is thrown into the Senate, and this is where I started before, and I had to go back and look. It's thrown into the Senate, and I will have to look this up. I'm just doing this from memory. Believe me, most of these videos are going to be ass backwards, because I'm going to say what I'm going to say, then I'm going to have to go research to see if what I said was right. Because I'm very well read, but I've forgotten more than I actually know at this point. You reach a certain age, and that's all there is to it. There's only so much you can incorporate into gray matter. You got to lose something along the way. But the thing is, I will have to go back at times and see if what I said was correct, because to a great extent, I am not going to script these videos. I'm just going to talk off the cuff, and whatever comes out, if I reach a point where it's like, and I'm not necessarily saying it on video, I'm just thinking it, is that right? I'll have to go back and look at it and see if, in fact, what I said was right. But as I remember it, in the Constitution, when nobody has 50% of the vote, it's thrown into the Senate, and out of the 5 leading presidential candidates, now this, I know I can't remember it exactly, but I think they pick 2. The one that gets to, and I think each senator gets to vote for 2 out of the 5. Like I said, I'm going to have to go back and look. In any event, how it's laid out in the Constitution is you've got the top 5 presidential candidates, and they pick among those. Consider that. This is what the founders thought our elections would be like. That there were so many people that were running for president, nobody would get a majority of votes. Nobody would get over 50%. And it would have to be thrown into the Senate. And there are so many candidates that they would have to pick among the top 5. It's nothing like that. We've got 2. And of course we have more than 2. I mean, Johnson got 5% of the vote last time. It looks like Jorgensen, the Libertarian, both times, Johnson, Jorgensen, is getting about 1.5% of the vote. There's always a Green Party. I think on most of the states, you've got the Constitution Party. You usually have an independent. There's all kinds of people out there, but they get like next to nothing, so they're not even considered. So that's the way it is more or less laid out in the Constitution. And the thing is, concerning these videos, I'm not doing this like a professional. However it comes out, I will do some research and see what I got wrong. And in the next video, I will tell you, you know what I said in the last video? Well, I was close, but this is exact. I figured it out. So in any event, basically we've got the derps, the Democrats and the Republicans. And that's a large part of our problem in this country. And you've got all kinds of people out there. And as a libertarian, this strikes me deeply because it is just so shallow and petty. But the Libertarians are the 3rd largest party in the U.S. They're on all 50 states, as far as I know, every election. They should be in the debates. I mean, there's a chance they can win. They're on all 50 ballots. They never are. Why? Because the derps keep them out. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. You've seen the debates. Only the derps, except for Perot, what, like 20 years ago? However long ago that was. Except for Perot, there are only the derps ever in the debates. So, you know, this ain't conspiracy stuff. This is how it's laid out. We are the derps. We want to control things. We want to maintain power. And how we do that is we restrict the amount of media coverage you can get. And here is the point, so I don't have to stop this video and replay it to see where I've gone off track this time. Here's the point I was about to make before. As a libertarian, this stands out. It's like when you buy a car of a certain color and thought you just made the most unique purchase ever, and all of a sudden you see those cars everywhere. I hear this every time they say it. Oftentimes, if they even mention a third party, they will say Republicans, Democrats, and independents. Now, independents are technically not even a party. That's just something you call yourself when you don't want to claim party affiliation. The Libertarians are this nation's third largest party, and they almost never say Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians. Republicans, Democrats, or Libertarians. They will say independents, or they won't even say anything for a third party. And then they'll go on to say, you know what this country needs? It's a third party. Okay, if you really think that, why don't you start talking about third parties? But that is not going to be the focus of these videos. The focus of these videos is going to be largely just to enlighten everyone who's willing to watch what the problems are in terms of the politics of this country, and for anyone who wasn't a Trump supporter, which is most of the country. He didn't even get 50% of the vote, and that's just people who are registered to vote, who actually voted, which is, I think Biden got like 70 million, he got 60 some million, so that's 100 and something million out of, let's like, say it's 150 million altogether at the end of the day, out of 330 million people in this country. Now I know some of those people are too young, some of those people are in prison, you know, all sorts of things. But 330 million, I would say, you know, a good 230 million out of those people should be eligible to vote if they took the time to register, and then if they took the time to go vote. We don't have that. What, we have 150 million people deciding the fate of 330 million people in this country. But that's the way it is. The thing is, of those people who vote, not even half of them voted for Trump 2 times. So most of the people who voted did not vote for Trump, and yet we had to put up with him for 4 years, and it was a fucking train wreck. Everybody knows that. Everybody. The people who didn't like it know it especially. The people who did like it were just incredibly amused by it because it triggered all the people who didn't like it, and we shouldn't have to deal with that. The people who didn't like it shouldn't have to deal with the stress of putting up with an asshole like that, and the people who did like it shouldn't just be mean-spirited scumbags. So we all need some enlightenment, and that's what these videos are for. And it's going to help me too, believe me. I became something of a mean-spirited scumbag myself, because when those people are doing everything they can to just offend everybody else, you pretty much feel like you got to punch back. And yet there's a part of me who realized, you know what? I should just avoid or ignore all that nonsense and get on with my life. But I didn't. A lot of times I didn't. That is something I'm trying to change about me. I'm hoping I can change it about others who feel they need that also. I wanted to actually talk about the pursuit of happiness, because that is going to be, in fact, this is running a little long. That is going to be, in fact, my next video, and that is going to be the main overarching theme of everything from now on, the pursuit of happiness. What it means according to the people who have interpreted it that I read on the internet, what it means to me before I even read the interpretation, so I'm not biased by that, and what governance's part in ensuring we can pursue happiness is, according to me, and then according to others, as I read their opinions. But basically, it's the pursuit of happiness, and then everything below that is what governance should be doing for us to guarantee that we can pursue happiness. So that, again, is going to be the overarching theme of everything from now on. Unless, of course, I grow intellectually and I decide, you know what, that probably wasn't the best idea, I need to change that. But as it is right now, I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just end this here. I planned on getting into that in depth in this video. But as I said, I'm not scripting these out. I'm just talking off the cuff, trying to get as many videos up as possible, just to get the number of videos up there, to get a few views, start to expand, as it were, and see where it goes from there. But this is where we're starting. Again, my name's Matthew Tubicine. I'm running for president. As I said, I am a member of the Libertarian Party, but in my bid for president, I have started a new party. It's called the Old School Party, and that's what I'm running under, because the Libertarians will have their own presidential candidate 4 years from now. Okay, I thank you for watching, and if you didn't watch, well, what's wrong with you, man? All right, talk to you soon.